Let's go over the basics of compound interest and how it can turn you into a millionaire. Welcome to Balanced Life. My name is Jesse. Today we're going over compound interest. Compound interest is going to fall under our finances category, and finances is one of the many things that we like to keep in order to live a balanced life. I've created sort of a little series here for you guys. We're nearing the end of it, so feel free to check out my other videos where I talk about a goal setting plan, a budgeting plan, and a saving plan so we can set ourselves up for financial success in the future. Compound interest is a great one to learn about at a young age because the thing about it is the earlier you start, the more time you're going to have to reap the benefits of compound interest. So today we're going to go over the basics of what compound interest is, how it works, and how it's going to make you $1 million with time. Again, this is going to take time. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme or anything like that. If you don't know what compound interest means, it is going to take quite a bit of years to reap the benefits. However, you'll be glad you did later on down the line. It's the same thing as going to the gym. You're not going to see the results right away. It might take months or years to see results, but they will be amazing results. So let's jump on in. Alright, first things first is understanding what simple interest and compound interest is. Simple interest is, for example, me putting $1,000 every year for 10 years into something that's going to yield me a 10% rate of return. So when I say putting it into, I mean investing it. Whether that be an index fund or real estate, something that I know is going to yield around 10% per year. You put that $1,000 into that, you invest it. First year you're coming out with $1,100 because 10% of 1,000 is 100. So you have $1,100 that you walk away with that year. So investing that $1,000 made you $100 the first year. The second year, you're going to put $1,000 into the same investment. It's going to yield you $100 again. So you're going to do this for 10 years, and at the end of it, you're going to have $11,000 because you're going to put in $10,000 of your own dollars, and it's going to yield $100 each year, which 100 times 10 is 1,000. You're going to walk away with $11,000. Using simple interest, you have made basically $1,000 over 10 years. The difference between simple interest and compound interest is your investments are compounding on top of each other. So the interest you're earning, you are reinvesting each year. So once we do the math on that, you'll see the difference and how great compound interest is. Basically, first year, we're putting $1,000 in. We're making the $100. Now we have $1,100. Then we're going to top that off next year with the other $1,000 we're putting in. So we're putting in another $1,000 with the $1,100 from the year prior. Now we're at $2,100. We're going to earn 10% on $2,100. And let's see, I have some notes here. At the end of year 2, you're left with $2,310 because you're getting 10% on top of the $2,100. Then the next year, you're putting that $2,300 on top of $1,000 again. So for year 3, 10% again comes out to another $330. So you end up with $3,630. And let's see, so after 10 years, we'll have over $18,000 because of compound interest instead of $11,000 with simple interest. So you can see the difference. $7,000 is quite a bit of money. And this is just over a 10-year period with just investing $1,000 per year. So, once we run into the bigger numbers here and put more time, allotted more time. So the difference between 10 years and 40 years is going to be drastic, you guys. You guys need to understand what compound interest is because it's one of the best things that exists. We don't have it like they used to back in the 80s. Back in the 80s, you could put your money into a savings account and they would actually give you about anywhere over 10% interest just for having your money in that savings account. The national average right now in the US is 0.06% interest on your money in your savings account. So that's a huge difference. We're not making money by having our money in our savings accounts. So whatever the people have told you so far in your life, I hope they're not telling you to put your money in your savings account. I agree that you should definitely have an emergency fund, don't get me wrong. Typical rule of thumb is to have 3 to 6 months of savings. So if you were to be laid off or lose your job, whatever, you get injured, the typical rule of thumb is to try to save up enough money to where you can survive for at least 3 months, But other than that, once you have that saved up, it's time to start throwing money into some investments here. So we'll jump on into a couple more examples in a second. For now, go ahead and download an app. I have an app on my phone that's called Compound Interest Calc. It's free. I have an iPhone, so I know it's free for Apple products. I'm sure there's an app out there for Android as well. If you don't want to download an app, feel free to fill out this equation here. It'll make it so much more difficult for you. So yeah, just download the app. It's free on iPhone. Android's probably got the same thing. Anyways, so let's say you save an extra $2,000 every year because you watched my other videos and you learned how to set goals, budget, and save your money. I personally save $2,000 a year just by switching my coffee. You can see how I do that in another video of mine. And I've actually got the app out here, and let's run the same numbers that we did in the earlier example of a 10% rate of return and 10 years, but instead let's up it to $2,000. So we're gonna add $2,000 every year into this investment. So we have an investment value of $37,000 and some change. So at the end of 10 years, by putting in $2,000 a year, you will have contributed $22,000. On the compound interest calc here, it lets you know your contribution would be $22,000. You could obviously do all this math yourself pretty easily, but it's gonna be quite a bit quicker to just use an app. So it also shows you your profit. So your profit after 10 years is $15,000. So that's $15,000 that you really didn't work for, you just put your money somewhere and your money made more money while you slept, which is a great thing. Now, that's only 10 years. Let's up it to 41 years. I messed around with this prior to this video and found out 41 years is exactly how long it's going to take you to break the $1 million mark. So adding $2,000 a year into something like an index fund for 41 years with a 10% rate of return on that index fund or whatever investment you choose, you're going to have $1 million, $1,075,273.98. So your contributions will be $84,000. So if you were to just save your money for 41 years and you're putting $2,000 per year into a vault in your basement, you're going to have $84,000 in that vault after 41 years. However, if you find something that you can invest your money into wisely, you will end up profiting $991,000 over 41 years. So 41 years from now, let's say you're 18 years old, you're gonna have, an extra $1 million by the time you turn 60. I don't see anyone that would have a problem with that. I would personally like an extra $1 million by the time I'm 60, so better start now than never. Doesn't really matter how old you are. You should probably start investing your money and learn about compound interest if you haven't already. So that's why I wanted to share this with you guys. If you mess around with the numbers, you can kind of get inspired. Let's say you're lucky and you're able to throw $5,000 a year into it. At the end of 41 years, you have $2.7 million basically. So it's all a matter of time. Like I said, it's just like going to the gym. You're not going to have immediate results. This is a long-term game. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is compound interest. It's a thing that wealthy people have been using for years and years. Like I said, we don't have the luxury of throwing our money into a savings account and the bank paying us 10% interest anymore. We have that 0.06% interest. Some places even do 0.01% interest depending on which bank you're putting your money into. So please feel free to check out my other videos and learn about keeping your finances in order. Like I said, you don't need to be like a doctor or a lawyer in order to have some money down the line. You just need to have a little bit of discipline and a plan. I recommend messing around on whatever app it is you downloaded for a little bit and just seeing what your future could look like 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line from now.
if you create a plan and stick to your guns and just put that money into whatever it is that yields 10% or any number. It could yield 5%, 7%. This is up to you to do a little research. I'm not a financial advisor in any way, shape, or form, so I'm not at liberty to tell you guys where to put your money. Some examples of things that might yield 10% on a yearly basis would be fine art. You can invest in wine, you can invest in real estate, REITs. There's going to be index funds. A good one is like the S&P 500, for example. Do some research on that if you don't already know what it is. It's an index fund basically representing 500 of the largest companies around the world, and it's going to yield around 10% on a yearly basis. From what I understand, I think it's at 10.5%, they say. It has a very long history, so there's things just like that that are going to be low risk, low reward. If you want to look at it that way, it's not going to be something like the cryptocurrency world where some people are getting 50% returns. That's very high risk though. Compound interest is all about time and low risk, so that way down the line you are actually guaranteed set up with a couple dollars extra in your pocket. So thanks for tuning in. Again, feel free to check out my other videos so we can all be in the same place 30, 40 years down the line. I really hope you guys learned something, and stay tuned for my other videos. I'll see you next time.